thought for the day. Know thyself.
Welcome to 7 Minutes for Yourself. I'm Christina Aina, and I'm so glad you've joined me for what I believe will be 7 of the most enriching minutes of your day. Let's take this time to reconnect with ourselves and improve our well-being.
In today's episode of 7 Minutes for Yourself, we explore how to strengthen our self-worth to uncover who we truly are. Have a listen.
Many of us are wandering the earth, accomplished in many ways, capable of fulfillment at many points, but with a fundamental wound that stops us from becoming who we truly might be. We don't quite know who we are. It isn't, of course, that we can't remember the basics of our biographies. We're unsure around two things in particular. Firstly, we don't have a stable sense of what we're worth. And secondly, we don't have a secure hold on our own values or judgments. Without knowing who we are, we tend to have particular trouble coping with either denigration or adulation. If other people decide that we are worthless or bad, there will be nothing inside us to prevent us from swallowing their verdicts in their entirety, however wrong-headed, extreme or unkind these might be. We'll be helpless before the court of public opinion. We'll always be asking other people what we deserve before seeking inside for an answer. Lacking an independent verdict, we also stand to be unnaturally hungry for external praise. The clapping of an audience will matter to us far more than would ever be wise. We'll be prey to rushing towards whatever idea or activity the crowd happens to love. We'll laugh at jokes that aren't funny, uncritically accept undeserving concepts that are in vogue, and neglect our truer talents for easy, popular wins. We'll trail public opinion slavishly, constantly checking the world's whims rather than consulting an inner barometer in order to know what we should want, feel, and value. We need to be kind on ourselves. No one is born with an independent ability to know who they are. We learn to have an identity because, if we're blessed, in our early years, someone else takes the trouble to study us with immense fairness, attention, and kindness, and then plays us back to us in a way that makes sense and that we can later emulate. They give us the beginning of a true portrait of our identity, which we can then take on and enrich over the years and use as a defense against the distorting verdicts from hurried or ill-intentioned others. Knowing who one is really the legacy of having been known properly by somebody else at the start. This early identity building tends to unfold with apparently innocuous but life-saving small steps. "Oh, that must really have hurt," a parent might say in response to an upset, thereby validating an infant's own feelings. Or, "It's okay not to feel happy on your birthday," the parent might say at another point, delicately upholding an infant's less typical response to certain events. Ideally, the child isn't just known, he or she is also interpreted as likable. A good parent offers generous interpretations. They're on the side of the child and are always ready to put the best possible gloss on moments of ill temper or of failure, which forms the basis upon which resilient self-esteem can then later emerge. Now, that's the ideal, but it can, of course, go very wrong and often does. A parent may offer mirroring that is out of sync with the reality of the child. "Look, who's such a happy little boy or girl?" a parent might insist, when actually the opposite is clearly the case, thereby badly scrambling the child's ability to connect with their own emotions. Or the parent might only lend the child a very harsh, punitive way of interpreting itself, repeatedly suggesting that the child is ill-intentioned or no good. Or the parent may simply not show very much interest in the child, focusing themselves elsewhere, so that the child grows up with a feeling that not only is it not worth cherishing, but also because it hasn't been adequately seen and mirrored, that it doesn't even quite exist. A feeling of unreality is the direct consequence of emotional neglect. Realizing that we lack a stable identity is a sobering realization, but we can, with a fair wind, start to correct the problem at any point. We need to seek out the help of a wise and kindly other person, perhaps a good psychotherapist, someone who can study us closely, mirror us properly, and then validate what they see. Through their eyes, we can learn to study, perhaps for the first time, how we really feel, and take seriously what we actually want. We can, by being witnessed generously, more often learn to take our own sides and feel increasingly solid inside, trusting ourselves more than we trust the crowd, feeling that we might be able to say no, not always swaying in the wind, and feeling that we are in possession of some of the ultimate important truths about us. Having come to know ourselves like this, we will be a little less hungry for praise, a little less worried by opposition, and a lot more original in our thinking. We will have learned the vital art of both knowing and befriending who we really are.
That concludes today's episode of 7 Minutes for Yourself. Please take a moment to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts. Today and every day with your kiddo is a gift. Enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in.